Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning. Happy Monday, boys. Happy Monday, kind of. I know we had that Lions loss, but here we are.
No, it is a good morning.
Lot to talk about.
It's a great morning. Seriously, no. You had a great weekend of college football. You look at the Lions. Let's be honest. It's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But you take away positives from the game, and we're going to get into it throughout the show. We have so much to talk about. But, overall, it was a great weekend.
Yeah, so that's what I want to ask you guys about, your initial thoughts on the plays and the game as a whole leading up to those final seconds of a loss.
Well, to be fair, the Lions were outplayed for 56 minutes, 57 minutes. Again, this is nothing new. This happened against San Francisco. This happened technically against Baltimore. This happened kind of against Chicago. The Lions are in year one of a rebuild. Let's all keep that in mind before we, quickly judge this team. Yes, they're 0-5, but who cares about the win-loss record? You are very opportunistic, and that's a good sign if you're the Detroit Lions. You're completely decimated with injuries, okay? Yet your defense, not the offense, Jeff, your defense has actually been the side of the ball that's improved week to week over the last 3 weeks. Over the last 3 games, they've only given up 20 points per game. 20 points per game from a roster and a defense that's been completely, again, decimated by injuries. Jeff Okudah done. Iffy gone right now. Aquara out for the year. You lose your best corner, best pass rusher. You lose secondary players. You lose linebackers. You lose everything. And you still somehow find a way to show up and stay involved. It's impressive. I gotta say, we can look at Minnesota, and to be honest, Minnesota were. If you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, you're kind of disgusted with that football game. You should have put the Lions away much earlier. Justin Jefferson could not be stopped. He had 100 yards at halftime. It was effortless. Yet they insisted on not targeting him more in the second half. They played very conservatively. Yep. They generally, they played the game of, hey, if we don't turn the ball over, we're winning this game. The problem for Minnesota, they turned the ball over twice in really bad situations. I believe both were in the red zone, correct? Actually, no. The first one was the second one at their own 20 or 30, whenever it happened. But still, that is very problematic. It's very problematic. You're not going to win football games if you're the Minnesota Vikings moving forward, playing like that. We praised Kirk Cousins for his outstanding play, to be fair to him, over the first 3-4 games of the year. That was pretty bad. Madison, awful timing on the fumble late. Why are you fighting for an extra yard? So many things. But Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, it seemed a little, deja vu-ish. You lose 17-19 to the Ravens off a 66-yard field goal. You lose 17-19 to Vikings off a 55-yard field goal, I believe. But the defense, I'll talk about them in a second, but one thing that's been consistent all year with this Detroit Lions team is offensively. They haven't been able to score 17 points or more the last 4 games. It's been 17, and less than that until the San Francisco game when we were able to come back in the third and fourth quarter. But the offense, it's an issue. And I can bring up the offensive line, allowing 4 sacks. They're riddled with injuries. You got a rookie who's against the world right now, but getting 65 yards from your best performing receiver is an issue. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's finally coming into his own, which is good to see. You talk about the defense improving. It's nice to see individual players improve like Amon-Ra, but Quintez was making plays up until he got injured with that shoulder injury. But the buck starts or stops with the quarterback, Jared Goff, 21 for 35 and an interception. We talk about this all the time. Just being inefficient, the mistakes. He had a fumble, 2 turnovers that game.
Jeff, if I may interrupt you, your thoughts on Jared Goff heading into the game? Forget that the game happened yesterday. What were your thoughts on him going into the first, let's say, 3-4 games? How do you feel he was playing?
Part of me wants to say as good as he can because it's hard throwing to these options at wide receiver, but at the same time, you can't excuse the turnovers. And I'm not just talking about the interceptions. I'm talking about the fumbles.
Mental mistakes as well.
Yes, that's a problem. I mean, he's overthrowing a couple of these receivers, which that's not surprising. We know who Jared Goff is, but it's the turnovers for me.
We know who Jared Goff is. May I remind there are people who even work at this network that had the nerve 3 weeks into the season to say Jared Goff is playing better than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. There are people that work here that know nothing, unfortunately, that were saying this. But more, Ron, to be honest, Lions gonna Lion? No. I didn't think yesterday was Lions, same old Lions.
No.
And I'll tell you why. Like, big picture, guys. If the Lions would have won yesterday, it would have been same old Lions. They would have won a meaningless game that would have jeopardized their draft stock. If the Lions were gonna Lion, they would have won that game. And I gotta say, you know, somebody had sent me a message late last night, and he kind of really made me think about this. He said, you know, I said on Twitter that, you know, I felt that karma was really on the side of the Detroit Lions, and he followed up by saying, not only is it on their side, it's on their side in these amounts of ways, and it really got me thinking, like, you know what, the Lions. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, over the past 6, 7, 8 years, they would have won that game. And they would have had the 5th, 6th overall pick come season end. But no, they're sitting at 0-5 in a clear rebuild. Do I have to reiterate this? You're in a rebuild. You're not winning 10 games. So, you're 0-5. Your defense has been improving, even though it's been decimated. Your offense looks like hot garbage. Anthony Lynn. We got to talk about you later as well.
Yep.
Jared Goff, do I even have to get started? Do I even have to acknowledge Mr. Small Hands himself? Mr. I can't throw the football at all. I lost all my confidence because Sean McVay yelled at me when I was in Los Angeles. Wow. That's your quarterback. No. Today should be a very positive day, I think, for Detroit Lions fans. We got to talk about Dan Campbell going for 2. I tweeted... not even 40 seconds before it happened. I said, regardless of the result, he needs to go for 2. And of course, he goes for 2, and he gets rewarded for it. They go up 17-16. Unfortunately for the Lions, there was 37 seconds left. Minnesota had 2 more timeouts. I mean, what can you do in that situation? It's going to happen. But again, it's a loss. It's a good loss.
Yeah.
It's a good loss. And, you know, I want to take this time to really acknowledge the improvement of individual players and the team on defense. I'm not going to acknowledge the offense. I'll give them 2 middle fingers. Anthony Lynn, Deuce Staley, they can all get middle fingers this morning. Figure it out. You have more than enough on offense to not punt, field goal, punt, turnover on downs, interception, fumble, punt. Oh, then we got a touchdown because our defense forced a turnover. Get over yourselves. Figure it out. The defense showed up the last 3 weeks. Where were you? If I told you only gave up 19 to Baltimore, 19 to Minnesota going into the week, wouldn't you think you had a chance? You know, just common sense. Wow, we have TJ Hawkinson, 2 running backs. The O-line is still kind of good, even though it's missing some players right now. We can figure it out. Jared Goff. You have Jared Goff, guys. I have a big problem with the offense this morning. I got to say, coaching has gotten better. Dan Campbell... I mean, we can talk about him rushing 3 against Kirk Cousins, but again, I sleep peacefully at night knowing it's a rebuild.
Right.
I'm not expecting wins. I'm not holding Dan Campbell accountable for wins. I'm holding him accountable for having that team fight for 60 minutes in a way that again, it's very reminiscent of Jim Schwartz. Now, what happens when you put a roster around him? Well, Detroit, I do have questions. I really do. I don't question Dan Campbell's heart. I don't question his team's heart, their willingness to fight. But once you start getting in good players, what's the identity of this team? Is it only that they play hard? Or do they have, you know, a really good offense, a dynamic, you know, modern offense? Could it be the defense is just overwhelmingly good? I don't know. And we're going to have to figure that out over the next 2 years. But takeaways from last night. No Lions fan should be crying, "Oh my God, we lost again. You should be thankful. You are now sitting comfortably at 0-5. You're home to Cincinnati. Honestly, Cincinnati, tough loss to Green Bay. You could expect that could be your first win. Then you're away to LA. Let's not even acknowledge that. And then you're home to Philly, which could be a tricky game, but we'll have to wait and see. But this is good. Guys, if you trust Brad Holmes, and Jeff, please tell me if we're on the same page here. If you trust in Brad Holmes, and you trust that he's making the correct decision so far, then we can agree that the best thing for this team is to lose as much as possible this year. So, if Dan Campbell does have the number 1, number 2 overall pick, and a team does want a quarterback, well, then you trade back, you get draft capital, and you've now given more ammunition to a very good GM so far. He's not great, he's not elite, he needs time to prove that. But he comes from he has a scouting background. This guy understands making player personnel decisions. And I think that's very important for the team, and the more draft capital they have, the better for them, you know? So that's my thoughts immediately after the game this morning. I'm not mad. I'm not frustrated. I'm not sad for them. I don't pity them at all. I'm not happy that they lost, but I'm happy the way they lost. They showed fight. They showed an ability to stay in a game they really shouldn't have been in. They shouldn't have been in the game against Baltimore. They shouldn't have been in the game against San Francisco. They shouldn't have been in the game yesterday against... I'm losing my mind already this morning. Sorry, guys. Against Minnesota.
Yep.
Excuse me. So there's a lot to take away in a good way. Now, we can talk about Dan Campbell's press conference. We'll get to that later. We'll talk about, the whole weekend in general. But if you're a Lions fan waking up on a Monday, you should be honestly really thankful you lost that game. Because you saw what you needed to see, and you still got the L, which means your draft position is still looking good. It's still looking good. And you know what? Trading Taylor Decker at the end of the year doesn't sound so bad after all now, does it? You get more draft capital. You trade away that top 2-3 pick. You fall to 6-7. You take a good player there. Or maybe you end up with the number 3 pick, let's say. Okay, you take a good edge rusher. You take a defensive player. Probably not a corner. You scale back for that, but I like the options Detroit has. Like, I was really happy over the weekend. You know? And again, the identity of this team, they fight, okay? But let's keep in mind all 32 teams in the NFL, they fight. The other 31 coaches want to win just as bad as Dan Campbell. The other 31 rosters want to win just as bad as the Lions do. So let's just keep that perspective. The fight is really great. It's good to see. But is that all you know? No, seriously. Is that all you know? And if that's all you know, do we see that turning into Jim Schwartz, basically? Where you fight, you want to have a 10-win season, and then, you fight, but you lose games, and then you kind of just lose it. I don't know.
I see what you're saying. But at the same time...
I just don't know enough yet.
At the same time, they're finding an identity thanks to Dan Campbell. It seems like they're finally coming around. They're playing hard for their coach. But more importantly, I want to talk about Jared Goff quickly before we move on, because let me just read off this statistic. Active player since 2016 with the most turnovers. You got Jameis Winston, number 1, 96. Jared Goff, 80. And then Kirk Cousins at 78. So what we know about Jared Goff is he turns the football over. And if you're in a rebuild like the Detroit Lions are, in a position like the Detroit Lions, you have to play a perfect game to essentially win, beat a Minnesota team who's very good, or even a Ravens team who's also very good. But if you have a quarterback who's turning the ball over, and with a defense who's playing their absolute tail off, it's a recipe for disaster. It's hard to really win games, especially when they're this close, 2-point games. At the end, it comes down to the 2 turnovers, the fumble, the bonehead interception that Jared Goff tried to get into Kadarius Hodge that was picked off by Kendricks. It's just little plays like that come back to bite you in the behind. But, when you have a quarterback, who's only behind Jameis Winston in turnovers, it's a tough task for any offensive coordinator or head coach. But the good thing you could take from this game last night, or yesterday rather, is exactly what Adam said, is this team's ability to I think it's a positive this team's able to fight, considering the talent they have right now. Now, in about a year or two, when we gain more players to the draft and free agency, do I want to see this team fighting every week? I mean, yes, but at the same time, you want to just win. You want to blow out a rookie quarterback. You want to win, against, hopefully next week at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. But this year specifically, I like the fight. I like, holding Minnesota to one score and a couple field goals, halfway through the third quarter. I mean, it shows how much, hard this defense plays, especially not having Romeo Okwara missing, I'm not going to say Jeff Okudah because we know what happens when he's on the field, but Romeo Okwara is the biggest one for me because he was generating most of this team's pass rush. He goes out and other guys step up. Trey Flowers got a sack last night or yesterday. Charles Harris got a sack. So that's stuff you want to look for, and improvement every single week. And I agree. Defense is the only side of the ball that's showing improvement. So hopefully that changes.
All right, you guys. Well, way to start our Monday off on a positive note. I love it. And then something else I love, Overreaction Monday. You guys know we do it every single Monday. That is coming up next, so make sure you stick around. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends over at Northwestern Tech.
Yeah, if you or anybody is trying to go to a trade school to make some good dough, I know a guy. All right, it's Northwestern Tech, and they hook all their students up, and you get a job right after school. You can start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. You learn more today by visiting that website, northwesterntech.edu.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy, what is it, Fish? Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian friends.
It is Thanksgiving.
No, we don't acknowledge that.
Well, we should.
Do. We're right there. Like Detroit and Canada, we're like this. So happy Thanksgiving if any Canadians are watching. But happy Monday, everyone, in general. But that means we have Overreaction Monday. Jeff, I want to start with you and your first overreaction.
All right, I'm jumping right out the gate. I don't know if this might be obvious to some might disagree, but Justin Herbert is the best quarterback out of the 2020 NFL Draft. Sorry, Joe Burrow. Love Joe Burrow, everything he was able to accomplish, but look at this man's line of work. 2 years, 2 different offensive coordinators, and he's playing just as well, if not better. That's a sign of a generational talent. I love Joe Burrow, but he's more turnover prone. I think Justin Herbert has a bigger arm. He makes plays with his legs. I just love Justin Herbert. I think he's the best quarterback out of the 2020 NFL Draft. And that's my Overreaction Monday.
I love it. That's the Jeff I want to see every morning, Jeff. I like that. All right, Overreaction number 1 this morning on a Monday, coming off a great Week 5 in the NFL. Mm-hmm. The Chargers will win the AFC West.
Oh, back-to-back Chargers.
Back-to-back Chargers, baby. Chargers winning the AFC West. I had them in my top 5. I got to say, it feels good, man. It feels good when you put a team up there and they go out and they win big. Not that they won big against, but they beat a very good team.
Yep.
Like Cleveland is one of the most complete rosters. Great win. Brandon Staley, take a bow, man. Take a bow. Great job. Great work being done there. Jeff, my second overreaction is the SEC will field 2 college football teams in the playoffs again. It's just inevitable. Bama lost early. They'll probably recover. They'll beat Georgia maybe. If Georgia beats them, I still think a 2-loss Bama may get in, depending how the field goes around the other conferences. Oklahoma, they're 6-0. I have no idea how. But you know what? I think two SEC teams will be fielded in the college football playoff this year.
My next overreaction is Detroit Lions based, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown will leave all wide receivers in receiving yards on the Detroit Lions because he's slowly coming into his own. Quintez is out. He's out for a couple weeks with a shoulder injury, and it's going to take some time for Tyrell Williams to get under his legs. So I have that much faith in Amon-Ra. 2 games, 60 yards, 70 yards. He has almost the most receptions on the team, and he's only behind in yards by 20. So more games he plays, more comfortable he gets. I think Amon-Ra will lead all wide receivers on the Detroit Lions in receiving yards if he stays healthy.
All right. Guys, let's be honest. We're 5 games in, all right? We know a little bit. We don't know everything, but you kind of know. But you don't want to say you know up until Thanksgiving. You want more time, but I'm not going to wait. The Detroit Lions should look to cut or trade Jared Goff in the offseason. They should move on from him. If you're going to lose, just draft a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round this year. Take a gamble. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, you'll have a top pick the following year, and you'll be just fine. Get rid of him. He's a bum. He's a bum. Seriously, no. This guy, I told you when he first got to Detroit that he was fighting for his next contract. He wasn't fighting for a new starting gig. His best chance is to be a backup somewhere. He's just not good. When you're mentioned in the same conversation as Jameis Winston and Kirk Cousins, you have a problem. You have a problem. Mr. Fumble himself. Move on. Lions got to get a new quarterback. They already knew that. Some of you didn't and wouldn't acknowledge it because he threw for 300 yards at him against what's it called? San Francisco. He played great. He played so well against Green Bay, Adam. Jared Goff, he went to a Super Bowl, Adam. Shut up. Cut his ass. Next.
All right, listen, my Overreaction Monday, we're going over the San Francisco 49ers because, in my opinion, this might be obvious to some, but you're starting Trey Lance the rest of the year. It's that simple. No, listen, I'm going on it because if it wasn't for the 7 holding penalties the 49ers got last night, he would have had over 200 yards, over 100 yards rushing in his debut. It almost beat a team who was undefeated. So credit to the defense. No, I'm going on it because, listen.
Trey Lance. Okay, you do realize why they got 7 holding penalties, right? It's because when a quarterback gets out of the pocket and defenders disengage, they get grabbed and pulled. I mean, this is the thing with a mobile quarterback. They're not used to it. Maybe they get used to it over time, but I liked San Francisco in the way they looked with Jimmy G this year. I still think it's too early. You saw Trey Lance. He's very inaccurate. He's got a hot hand. It's really good. He can make all the throws, but I think it's early. Now, if you're on it, that's fine.
This is a kid who only played 1 collegiate game last year. Obviously.
Yeah, but do you want him to learn on the fly in the NFL, or do you want to give him enough reps? Because, again, Kyle Shanahan's system is no joke. I mean, it's a lot
hey, 15 for 29, didn't throw the ball exceptionally well, but listen, you could do so much more with Trey Lance. And you're 2-3 right now.
Well,
you're probably not.
If you want Cam Newton at quarterback, that's fine. But, I'd rather just sit him a year and get him more comfortable and have him explode on the league next year.
So that's you banking on him exploding next year. I would rather get him the game reps this year. You're 2-3. I mean,
why? They're 2-3, but they're a good roster that can compete and probably get into the wild card. I can do that with Jimmy G. I can't do that with Trey Lance.
I like more out of Trey Lance. I like what I saw. Yeah, right. Listen, the passing's going to get better. He's going to get more accurate with the football. I mean, some of those balls he was throwing were red hot. Pause on that, but red hot. He was throwing fastballs. So if he just chills out on that stuff, he gets better in overall of his other areas of his game. I like Trey Lance. I mean, say what you want, but Kyle Shanahan could do so much more with Trey Lance. It's interesting. So that's my overreaction.
All right, Trayvon Diggs is the best corner in the NFL. It's not even a discussion. Jalen Ramsey is great. There's a lot of great corners, but just right now, no one is playing at the level Trayvon Diggs is. Now I understand he's not locking up people. Maybe like a Jalen Ramsey does. But you know what he's doing? He's making plays. The same way I credited Jalen Ramsey on Thursday night for that tip deflection interception where he made the play but someone else got the interception credit for it. Trayvon Diggs is just unreal. I mean, every game you've watched this year, forget the interceptions. He's made an almost interception as well. Like, the guy is just somehow always in the right position to force a turnover. It really reminds me of Ed Reed. I'm not saying he's Ed Reed, but just how often he's on the ball, making a play or damn near making a play. It's unbelievable. I mean, Cowboys got something there. Good for them. Good for them. My last overreaction is plain and simple. John Gruden and Urban Meyer will be fired this season. Neither we'll see next season. I think John Gruden is a waste of time. I think Mike Mayock is a waste of time in Las Vegas. They really got to go in a different direction. Go hire a professional. Go get an actual GM, not some ESPN analyst. Okay? And John Gruden, I don't even want to acknowledge the whole scandal right now. It's irrelevant to me. But regarding his job situation, you can't keep throwing away good starts by your football team. You can't lose to Chicago at home. That is awful. It's unacceptable, and it's very fireable, to a rookie quarterback. Should be ashamed. They've surrounded Derek Carr with Zay Jones, Henry Ruggs, who maybe see on my screen once every 6 weeks. He makes a big play, and then everyone's like, "Whoa, that's Henry Ruggs!" And then they all forget about him for the next 6 weeks. That's your wide receiving core? Oh, we have Darren Waller. Well, yeah, I mean, look at the Lions.
They got very lucky with Darren Waller.
No, but what I mean by that with Darren Waller is he's going to get doubled every single time when you have nothing around him.
Right.
Travis Kelce is able to dominate because you have to hold Tyreek Hill accountable, Patrick Mahomes accountable, Edwards-Helaire accountable, Mecole Hardman accountable. You have pieces. What do the Raiders have? They keep throwing away their draft picks. Move on. Move on from both. Urban Meyer needs to go. The scandal last week, I talked about it. He should be done already. USC just got blown out. The job's there, man. Go take it. You're not a professional football coach. Go coach the kids. Go win a Pac-12. Go get USC back on the map. Great. Good for you. You're not going to get it done in the NFL. Just stop. Just stop. That's it. You're done. You've lost this locker room already. And whatever fight they showed you on Sunday, believe me, it wasn't for you, Urban Meyer. I promise you that. So I think they should both get fired.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my overreaction, my last one was John Gruden should be reevaluated towards the end of the season and fired, if not that, because you could talk about the scandal he was just involved in with the whole email, and we don't got to talk about that, but his football, just to play on the football field, 3-1, now 3-2, they look bad. You start off 3-0, a team who's not very talented, made some very bad business decisions. John Gruden traded away Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack for a bag of chips, and it's not working out well for him. So reevaluate John Gruden, maybe give him the boot at the end of the year.
Look, I don't care what John Gruden's contract looks like. Figure it out.
Fire
the
him.
guy. Look, I mean, honestly, Vegas, you're this close to being in a complete rebuild. Now, I'm not saying Derek Carr's an elite quarterback, but you know what? He's in that conversation from 12 to 15, 16 and of quarterbacks in the NFL. And that alone can win you 7, 8, 9 games. And on a good roster, great head coaching, you can win 10, 11, 12 games. We've seen Derek Carr able to lead a team to 12 wins. Remember before he got hurt? MVP-type season. He's capable of it. Now, whether or not you can surround him with the coaching and players, that's a different question. But the Raiders aren't it. So we got to go to break, Kennedy, don't we?
We do. And for everyone's information, I'm rocking with my same overreaction from last week. Wake Forest is still 6-0. They're going to win the ACC. There it is. All right, everyone. When we come back, we're going to have our boy Kory Woods right with us, Lions beat reporter for Woodward Sports. So stick around for that. We'll be talking about Dan Campbell and his coaching decisions. So don't miss it. But before we go, we have to hear from our friends over at MyBookie.
All right, guys. MyBookie. There is no better time to be betting on sports than football season. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. Use code Woodward and sign up today using our code to get 50% match on your first deposit. Put in $100, they'll give you $50. You put in $200, they'll give you $100. Guys, free money here to be made. Bet the Monday Night Football game today. You have the Colts and Ravens. Lots of opportunity. You have playoff baseball. Everything's going on, guys. Player props, individual games. You got it. MyBookie has it. Make the bets. And again, if you have a gambling problem, please call the Gambling Problem Hotline at 1-800-270-7117. Thank you.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our number one priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Like I said, our friend Kory Woods will be joining us to talk about Dan Campbell and his coaching decisions, especially late in the game. But, guys, I'll throw it to you at the desk so I can do my magic trick and turn into Kory really fast.
Absolutely.
So your
Absolutely.
thoughts.
So, all right, let's just look at the game as a whole. Another game the Lions... Oh, outplayed for a majority of the game, but they were somehow in it. Defense opportunistic, forced some turnovers, missed field goals by Minnesota, puts you in a position where you have a chance. Kory, how was your weekend, man?
My weekend was great. I had a great weekend. We'll talk about that later, but I had a great weekend.
All right, Kory, we gotta start with Dan Campbell's late coaching decision making. Let's start with the questionable one because we all know the positives. Let's start there. Rushing 3 again.
I seriously don't get it. You got burnt off of it last time. I don't understand.
The film is there. The film is there.
The film is there.
Teams know what you're gonna do if you rush 3.
So I don't get it, but it's one of those. You said something about the defense is playing well and overachieving. These guys do not have playmakers. So I'm not going to beat them over the head too bad about that. But that was just a bad decision to rush 3 in that situation. You have it really wrapped up in your hands again, and you lose off of the same damn thing. It's tough. I'm going to ask it, though. If I can, unless somebody's watching this and now going to try to ask it before me, but I'm going to ask it.
Yeah, I'm curious because I want to know what you've seen on film during the week, honestly. Where if you rush 3, what chances it gives you. Now, let's say you just line up in a standard dime package, but you send a few guys. Let's say you pressure Kirk Cousins. Well, if we know anything about Kirk Cousins, he doesn't do well under pressure. So, again, hindsight, maybe I'm that guy this morning, but I'm actually just curious. Like, I'm happy they lost the game. Believe me, I'm all for the rebuild right now. This is great. But don't you, again, aren't you going into the game with these scenarios scripted out? And I really don't think they are. And it's really annoying me.
I would have sent the house at freaking Kirk Cousins. I would have made him feel really uncomfortable in that pocket because he gets shaky. He makes bad decisions.
They were getting to him, too, earlier in the game.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Apparently Aaron Glenn called that play. Kory, we should blame him. I shouldn't question or hold accountable the head coach of the football team. God forbid. Let's go with the positives, okay?
Yep.
And now I'm just going to disregard the first 57 minutes where they were irrelevant and couldn't make anything happen. Madison fumbles the ball. Lions get the ball back. They scored a touchdown. And lo and behold, Dan Campbell goes for 2. Ooh. And I got to say, I loved it. And I didn't care if he made it or missed it. But the fact that he had the balls
win that game
to go for 2. Again, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Go and win the game against Baltimore. Don't try not to lose it. Go and win the game. He went out there and he tried to win the game. Now, Minnesota went down, scored, whatever. But still, that is called aggressive play calling. Not going for it on 4th and 2 every single time because you can.
I thoroughly love that call. Whether they made it or not, I'd have been like, you know what, whatever. Because at that position, at that point in the game where they got that late touchdown, first off, Reeves Maben, that was a hell of a strip. But for them to get in that position, get the touchdown, go for the win. You're not even supposed to be in that position after everything that happened during that game. Go out and go win it. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I question putting the ball in Jared Goff's hands to win that, to go out and make that play. I would have been fine. Like, you know what? If you had DeAndre Swift or Jamal Williams ran it and they got stuffed, all right, whatever. I still would have been happy. But the thing is, that's because of Jared Goff has not made these plays in recent memory. So I felt like, again, him. But you know what? To his credit, he went out and made that play. But he ain't make a whole bunch of plays well before then. And I know you guys don't want to be the negative. You don't want to be the negative guy. I gotta get on the Goff.
I already crushed him today.
I know you crushed him, but I gotta add on to it now. I gotta be the bad guy because once again, first off, the last 2 games, heading into this game, the Lions were scoreless in the first half, two consecutive games. They erased that yesterday. They got the field goals. But now you're still with Jared Goff. Now going 3 straight games without a first half touchdown.
Yep.
This guy cannot. I agree with what you said earlier. They're going to have to cut bait, whether it's a trade. I don't know who would trade for him, or you're going to have to just outright release him.
Or you can just want to win 2. If you want to win 2 games next year, Keep Jared
Keep
Goff
him.
as your quarterback, honestly.
And then you get him off the books
But-
completely.
Yes, but I think, personally, I do believe that this football team could win 6, 7, maybe even 8 games next year. I do think so. They'll get their players back healthy. I think Brad Holmes will have a very good offseason. And I think, again, Aaron Glenn, I think, is doing a much better job than Anthony Lynn. Anthony
most
Lynn
definitely.
is
Aaron-
not
Aaron-
looking great right now, especially with what Brandon Staley's doing out in Los Angeles.
Aaron Glenn has lost his starting quarterback, the guy that replaced starting quarterback. He loses Romeo Okwara, Trey Flowers had missed some games, and he still has these guys overachieving. The past 3 games, the Lions defense has overachieved.
Where
Only
did Charles
20
Harris
points per
come
game.
from? Charles Harris coming out
Yeah,
of nowhere.
yeah.
Guys coming out of nowhere.
There are only 4 teams in the NFL that have allowed fewer points in
Yep.
that stretch.
They're overachieving, but the offense is not giving them a chance. The offense not giving them a chance. Jared Goff has to be a better
I
quarterback.
mean, they're giving them a chance. They're just punting every single time because Jared Goff can't throw the ball.
Now, if you want to say that Jared Goff, he's without his, his 1, 2, and 3 wide receiver, okay, that's fine. But that still doesn't stop, the overthrowing, the underthrowing, the staring receivers down and then getting picked off.
You know what? The Cleveland
or
Browns,
the fumbles.
The Cleveland Browns put up 40 points on a very good Los Angeles Chargers defense. Without Jarvis Landry, with Odell Beckham, who, let's be honest, isn't Odell Beckham. He's still getting his legs under him. They still managed to drop a 40-piece. They still managed to put Baker Mayfield in play-action passes and situations that allowed him to throw the ball downfield and make some plays. You can't do any of that with Jared Goff. Anthony Lynn, this is a problem. It doesn't look good. And you know what? He has the rest of the year to turn it around, and I'm sure they will, and they can figure it out. But you can't allow a defensive-minded head coach take over in Los Angeles after you get fired and make Justin Herbert look like the best quarterback in the NFL, along with them actually being, 4-1 now? Top of the division? That's a problem.
Also, I just want to have this on tape because it's not hindsight 2020. I said last year when the Lions had the number 3 pick, I said they should have traded back and got Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
because,
I know, I remember.
Because here was my logic. Stafford was going to have to go at the end of the year anyway.
Bingo.
And the thing is, it's not necessarily saying Stafford was a bad quarterback. It was just that the relationship on both sides, it's gone as far as it was going to go for the Lions end and for him. So just want to put that out there.
We're on the same page.
It would have been Bob Quinn making that decision, by the way, just adding that in.
It's egregious that, again, this is why the Fords are what they are and why they're perceived the way they are. It's that simple. Because you allowed people that you put on the clock, you put them on the hot seat, you told them their jobs were on the line, you directly impacted their decision-making by coming out in, March or April and holding that stupid press conference with Martha, Sheila, and Rob.
Their biggest mistake, I'll give Sheila this. I'll give her this much leeway on it where, okay, she's now stepping in. Maybe she wanted to get comfortable and ride it out for a couple of weeks with the coach. I don't agree with it, but if that was her logic, okay, so be it. But you give these guys who are coaching and GMing for their jobs the most important pick at that moment in the franchise's history.
Dictate the future. I mean, that's huge.
Stafford was, let's be real, not that he was on the decline.
It was just time to go.
The team was definitely on the decline. It was heading downwards prior to Matt Patricia. Let's remember this. The 9-7 Caldwell year, they won 8 of those games. Last second field goals, fourth quarter comebacks. Guys, that's not how you win football games. It's hard enough to win football games. If you think you're going to win every single game of the year by coming down last minute and scoring, good luck. You're not going to win consistently. So, I don't know. That's an unforgivable pick. It's unforgivable. Jeff Okudah is already a bust. There's a guy that was taking 48 picks past him that's already an all-pro corner. I'm sorry. This is how you label a bust. It is what it is. You know what? If he was on the field, maybe he could change my mind. But you know what? He isn't. Last I checked, injuries play a big part.
The best ability is availability.
Unbelievable. All right, Kory, before we skate, I got to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Dan Campbell's post-game press conference. I'm going to get I'm going to get to it at 8:56.
Okay.
But I just want your immediate reaction to it, and I think I'm going to surprise you with mine.
You know what? I wasn't mad at it. I mean, I know some people that said that, oh, why is he being so emotional? You know, why is he? The team is supposed to select. You know what? The team is. We already know the team is going to suck. The team is going to be bad. This is a bad roster. I don't think Dan Campbell came in here thinking the Lions were going to win 7, 8, 9 games their first year. I don't think he thought that. But I think he wants to win some of them, at least one. I don't think he wants to start out his coaching tenure 0-5. And I think it's like, you know what? If they got their asses blown out the first, just blown out each game, I don't think you see that from him. But I think when you get teased and needled,
Welcome to the NFL.
It's just like, damn.
I won't give it all away, but I will say, when I first saw again, you're looking at headlines here.
Yeah.
Campbell emotional, crying in the post. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Are you kidding me? I watched it. But then I watched the full thing. And you know what? I see a guy, regardless if I question his coaching abilities, regardless of anything, I see a guy that really wants it. A guy that really wants to win.
100%.
I could make the argument that there are 31 other coaches that want it just as bad.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should be waking up Monday talking about Dan Campbell's press conference, although it frustrates me because somehow, Kory, every week, it's a soundbite from Dan Campbell that we have to talk about, not the team's performance, not the wins that they haven't gotten yet. I mean, that is probably the only objection I have to it. But you know what? I don't feel bad for Dan Campbell at all.
Yeah.
He's putting everything into it, but he also needs to take a chill pill. It's year one of a rebuild, dude. The team is bad. No one's gonna kill you for this.
Yeah, I don't think nobody's gonna. Nobody should lift him up and carry him off the field like he's Rudy or something because he cried during the post game. But at the same time, I will say this: for the last coach that was here, who looked like he didn't give a damn behind the wheel,
it's refreshing.
It's refreshing.
But is it overcompensation too? Or is it? I think it's too early to say it. But
I think it's
general
too.
question.
I think it's too early. I think it's in that moment. It's like, you know what? There were some blunders he made coaching-wise, but he did everything that people bitched at him about the previous week. Mm-hmm. He did it in this game. He even went aggressiveness, and he still took the L. It's kind of like, what the F do I got to do? I think that's pretty much what it was. Not that we lost the game. It's like, I did everything these MFers were killing me about. And then I still take the L.
You know what frustrates me with that? Is they were not in a position to even consider that for 58 minutes. Like as frustrating as it is, you had 58 minutes to get your offense put together. You had 58 minutes to make something happen.
That might be some of the frustrations.
You know what my frustration is? It seems like for 57 minutes of a game, we don't know who the hell Jared Goff is. And then for some magical reason, in the last 3 minutes, he finds his juice. If he could at least give some of that about 20 minutes somewhere in the game.
They just play soft coverage.
I don't just think it's Goff. I think this team doesn't have an identity, and that's what scares me. Dan Campbell, so far, what's the identity of his football team?
The biggest identity is that they play hard.
They're going to play hard.
Yep.
Last I checked, every NFL team plays hard. And again, I get it's a little extreme
for their talent
in their
level.
situation, but like, come on. If that's your fallback, that we're going to play hard, you're going to lose more than you win. And, that's the only concern I have in the future, 2-3 years from now with Dan Campbell is, what's the identity of the head coach? Is he just this man management guru who can get it all together if he just gets it right? I don't understand.
I think the Dan Campbell, what his team is going to resemble right now, all you can say is that they play hard because he just clearly does not have the roster. I mean, he does. I don't even look. They don't even have an average roster. This is a below average roster. So I think that it's incomplete.
Are you concerned with the emotional distress of a Dan Campbell, wearing on a team? And I mean that genuinely. I'm not trying to poke fun here.
Him crying at the press conference?
Wearing his emotions, hear me out, him wearing his emotions on his sleeve And to that capacity, your team is going to feel that too. And I'm sure they're all down. I mean, you just lost a close
I'm
football
sure they
game.
already cried.
You thought you were going to win it. You went for 2. You had the highest of the high and then the lowest. I mean, that is tough to swallow. But, I mean, let's healthy?
I say let's revisit that around the bye week.
Thanksgiving time, maybe?
Yeah, because I think that'll be an appropriate time because we'll see where they're at, if they're still winless, if they got a couple under their belt. Then you'll kind of see where it's at. Because I think right now, that's all they have to go off of is they're playing hard for their coach. That's what's keeping them coming to the building.
And I think that's fine. And again, we saw this with Jim Schwartz. But Kory, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Our Detroit Lions beat reporter Kory Woods. Before we go to break, Jeff, you got to tell us about our friends at Papa Romano's.
Yeah, let me tell you, because it's coming up. It's Monday, so Monday Night Football. Ladies and gentlemen, you know where to go, Papa Romano's. You can go there. They got the new pizza, only $16.99. You can order online at paparomanos.com. Go check it out because I'm Italian. I approve. It's absolutely delicious.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. I'm back. I've morphed back from being Kory, and now we're going to talk Michigan football. They escaped Nebraska with a 32-29 win. Wow, that was a great win in a very hostile environment for the Michigan Wolverines. But the bad thing, they were struggling stopping Adrian Martinez, so they needed that fumble.
Yeah, who doesn't? He's a mobile quarterback. He's going to give any college team problems. They limited him. Well, they basically shut him down in the first half. Second half, Nebraska really came out to play. Yep. It was a great game to watch. As a spectator, just forget your fandom. That game was full of wow moments. I mean, Hassan Haskins jumping over the player, making that big play downfield. Yep. The strip at the end, setting up Michigan to win the football game. Moody is different. I'm being serious. When does a college kicker actually hit all of those and not shank at least one of them?
I know.
Michigan, man, 6-0.
It's bombs.
Good for them. Gotta say, I was very impressed. But I tweeted it out over the weekend. I've been saying this now for how long, Jeff? 4 weeks?
Yes.
Cade McNamara can't win you football games. He can only lose you them.
Yep.
And excuse me, last I checked, Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum are the ones that won you that football game. So excuse me, J.J. McCarthy should be the starting quarterback moving forward. I'm not sure if he's ready. I'll let Harbaugh decide. But do we have breaking news? What am I missing?
Oh, yeah, just got some breaking news real quick. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster, out for the season.
Oh,
wow. Good. With that shoulder, it looked bad.
They're going to place him on IR.
Looked bad.
Really?
Just want to hop in and point that out.
All right, I'm not going to lie. You gave me a heart attack, and I hate you, so get out of here.
I thought we traded. I thought you said something about trading for Juju. I got scared a little bit.
No. I thought it was worse. You're not allowed to walk away yet. I thought you were talking about Najee Harris because he went off with cramps, and I thought he had a season-ending injury. And I have him on my fantasy team. I was ready to kill you. All right, back to Michigan.
Yep.
Listen, J.J. McCarthy, they were putting him in moments late in the game. Jim Harbaugh trusts the kid. Now, does he trust him to start him completely yet? Clearly not. But you got Northwestern coming up. You just saw Nebraska put up, almost 60 on Northwestern. Mm-hmm. You just put up 32 on Nebraska, which means you're likely to put up 40, 50 against Northwestern. That should be a game Michigan wins comfortably. But is Cade McNamara the starter? Last I checked, the running game is what got you going. Cade missed a few throws downfield. He wasn't able to get anything going. He made some good check down throws on third down that the tight end maneuvered and got a first down out of it. That's great. But Cade didn't make anything happen that was over the top spectacular. And, I really want to get in Anthony again this week. Maybe we'll bring him in tomorrow or Wednesday. Wolverines Digest for Sports Illustrated to talk about this. But I've been on this train for almost 5 weeks now, and I'm not backing off of it. You will lose a game because of Cade McNamara. You will not win because of him. That's not a good situation to be in. That means if this guy just doesn't show up or plays average, we're probably in a close game that we could lose. And he never shows up. Adam, he's 6-0 as a starter. Really? Come on, guys. You've got the kid on the bench. Go to the freshman gym. Go to the freshman. Show up in East Lansing, and you'll have a chance. Because I promise you, going against Kenneth Walker, Naylor, and Reed is no walk in the park. So my takeaway from Saturday's big win for Michigan, again, back-to-back road games for Jim Harbaugh winning, that's huge, is I need to see more J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, to my same opinion as you. It's a big win. You heard Cade McNamara say it after the game. A couple years ago, we would have lost this game. We won it this year. Michigan always struggles with these kind of quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks. Most college teams do, like Adam pointed out. Dangerous with their legs. And we talked about how dangerous Adrian Martinez will be for Michigan. But I love the defensive front. They got dogs up there. They can get after any quarterback they choose. But the secondary is a little shaky. They got the interception, of course, but I think they'll get things worked out as the season goes on. I got a lot of faith in Mike McDonald. Love what he brings to the table at being only 35 years old, but I love what he's been able to do. But let's just talk about Cade McNamara, because he's the one that really limits this football team. And yes, the argument is, why say these things about Cade? He hasn't done anything to essentially lose the job or play so awful you lose a game. But the big thing is, why wait to lose a game to make the decision on your starter? You know, J.J. McCarthy, when he was out there, Jim Harbaugh used him on some RPO stuff, didn't really trust him to throw the football. He had one attempt. But I just believe, listen, Cade, with this run game, with this offensive line, they can win you games against Western Michigan, Wisconsin, without their starting quarterback at the second half. Sneak by Rutgers or Nebraska. But what about Ohio State? What about MSU? These are the teams that Jim Harbaugh has on his radar. And with Cade McNamara behind center, it's going to be very, very hard. I mean, with the loss of Ronnie Bell, you saw how much that impacted Cade McNamara. The passing game significantly got hit with that. It's tough, and they're setting themselves up to essentially be exposed by Michigan State if they're going to make him air it out like this. And Cade, is 20. Let me check real quick. Yeah, 22 for 38. Under 50% throwing. He looked like Jared Goff out there. And the comparison between him and Jared Goff is actually pretty funny and ironic, but the only thing is I would say Jared Goff fumbles the ball more. That's the only difference. You're going against a QB. Listen, when Michigan and Michigan State verse on Devil's Night, Michigan, you're going up against a QB who's tied for the most TD passes, 60-plus yards in a single season, other than Dwayne Haskins in 2018. I mean, this is a guy who can air it out, the football, unlike Cade McNamara. So that's, a lot of thinking to do for Jim Harbaugh. But the good thing is he's got 2 weeks. He's probably going to beat Northwestern. And the thing is, you're not going to see the flaws beating up on teams. They're going to blow out a Northwestern and assume they're fine. Walk into Michigan State, it's going to be a very different ball game. Same with Ohio State. I mean, these are teams that can put up 40 points on you. I mean, you saw what Ohio State did last week. It's just, that's what I'm worried about, is the ceiling of this team. You know they're a good football team with Cade McNamara, but what's the ceiling at them? That's what I'm asking. Because
that's limited. We talk about beat bad teams. That's about it. You're not beating Michigan State on the road with Cade McNamara as your starting quarterback, unless Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins decide to rush for 300 yards combined and the defense plays lights out. But again, what happens if State comes out and scores early? What happens if the run game isn't working? You're really going to leave the ball with Cade? And, of course, the timely moment on Saturday on the road in a close game. What does Cade McNamara do? He throws the interception. Of course he was going to throw it. It's been coming. The guy is average at best. He is a knockoff version of who? Who can I compare him to in the NFL right now? Some bum. Let me think of a bum. Bum.
Particularly that plays for Detroit.
Bum. Let me think. Many of them.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, my goodness. All right. We got to head to break. When we get back, we've got some action.
Yep.
Lions talk. Dan Campbell. His post-game press conference. I'm gonna tell you guys what I really think of it. And I'm curious to see what you think and what everybody at home thinks. So stick around. We'll be right back. But Kennedy, what do we got to do first?
First, we need to hear about our friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, listen, we talk about how good this Michigan defensive front is. Let's talk about Guardian Alarm because they get it. Good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. You would know that because Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe. They have 24/7 local monitoring. You could check in on your home with control, lights, and temperatures, detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock doors. Call this number 800-STAY-OUT today. That is 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. All right, as promised, we're getting into Dan Campbell and his very emotional press conference. We have the video, Adam. Would you want to show that first?
I do.
Okay, here it is.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough. You know, you don't want that for them. So, but we'll be better for it, you know. And there again, credit Minnesota, but you know, we made the one mistake that cost us, you know, and so ultimately, you know, we didn't do enough to win. But I was proud of them, and I love the fight they have in them, and I love the grit.
All right, Dan Campbell.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
A man that clearly wears his emotions on his sleeve, not afraid to show it. Let me start here. I'll start with the positives I took away from it, and feel free to intervene.
No, I'll let you get it all out.
All right, let me get my frustrations and what I'm thinking out. Dan, this is year one of a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
All right, his post-game press conference, it took me two ways. One of like, really, is now the time for this? But then the other side of me said, you know what? He is who he is, and this is Dan Campbell, and he's not fake. He's not acting for you. He's giving everything he is. It's all in front of you. He has nothing to hide, and I respect that. Now, do I think that it's common or it's something that translates to wins? No, I don't. But I think the takeaway from his post-game press conference should be that this is a guy who is going to wear his heart on his sleeve. His team is going to play with complete emotion. He's an emotional guy. And I think they play hard not only this year. As long as Dan Campbell's the head coach, they will play for him. But, again, I understand the emotion of it, the highs. We went for two. We had the ballsy decision. It worked. It worked. We went for two and it worked. And we still lost. Like, I get, like, man, we just want to win one. Like, I get it. But the crying, I don't know what to make of it. I'm not gonna make fun of him this morning. I'm not gonna take that direction. I don't think that's appropriate. But what I do think is this is who he is. This is just who he is. I don't think it's an act. I don't think it's him trying to deceive you or try and make you think another way or deflect from the fact that they're now 0-5. Like, no, this is year one of a rebuild. Half the team is on one-year contracts. You have a bum at quarterback. You're full of injuries. Your defense is completely decimated by injuries. You're going to lose games. I get he just wants the one, and I know the team was fighting. And you know what? This is the third time this year they were somewhat close in a game they shouldn't have been close in. But you know what? Just walk away from that press conference with, hey, this is a guy that's going to tell me how it is every week. And you know what? I can live with that. And whether or not he's a good coach or he ever turns out to anything in Detroit, I think is irrelevant in that case. His time will come to judge him and evaluate him as a head coach. But, you know, to be fair, you know, again, when I first saw it, I don't want to say I was angry, but I was like, really? Because I'll be honest, I don't like my head coach to only be in the topic of media in regards to his post-game and pre-game press conference.
Well, that's what happens when you're losing. I mean, you're losing game. There's nothing else to talk about.
No. This is not common at all. This happens a lot. You know what? This happens a lot in other sports where, you have this, very enthusiastic leader of the team, and he deflects a lot by saying things in the media to get the attention off that the team is 0-5, that the team is, not doing great. But I don't think that's Dan Campbell. I don't think he's doing it in a deceiving way. I just think that's who he is. Now, do I like it? I don't have to like it. What I can accept, though, is that it's organic, it's raw, it's real. It's not some fat guy sitting up there telling me, hey, I'm responsible for one of the greatest defensive plays in Super Bowl history, even though I sent the wrong player on the field originally. But no, this is good. Now, again, whether this translates to the Lions turning into a successful team and organization, I don't know. It's way too early to talk about that. But I don't hate it and I don't love it. And I think the people that do love it need to be very careful here. Because if you're going to ride this team based on emotion and playing hard and wearing your heart on your sleeve, there's a lot of losing that's expected to come over the next 2 years. Be very careful, because then you'll get sick and tired of Dan Campbell. Be very careful what you ask for. If it's emotion every single week, well, you know what? Try winning only 3-4 games. See where the emotion gets you. Be very careful. That's all. But no, I'm not going to kill him for being genuine and honest and, just frustrated, I'm sure, after the game, because they were, again, in a position to win and they lost. They did.
Yep.
And no one should kill them for losing. You expect them to lose as much as possible this year. Do you actually go into any game this year honestly thinking, wow, this is the day, Lions going to win big. Lions winning big today, boys. No, it's not going to happen. You maybe pick it once or twice, maybe 3 more times this year, you'll pick the Lions to win. But that's about it. It's a rebuild. And Dan, this is especially for Dan Campbell. Dan, it's a rebuild. Relax. I get it, but relax. Get the pieces and get the players that you actually want on your roster to play for you. Yep. And the wins will come. That's my 2 cents.
I mean, you hit it right on the head with a couple of things you said there. I mean, I think he was just being extremely transparent with the media, and the former player kind of came out of him. He's never been a coordinator. He was an assistant coach. He's from the Bill Parcells tree, but nonetheless, I think this is exactly what you just said. This shows who he really is. My man Steve in the chat mentioned it. I also saw this. He cried when he stepped on the practice field for the first time. So it's little stuff. Is he going to cry every single week? No, but the fact that he knows, he understands how hard these players work in practice. He understands what the media and everyone else thinks about the team and where they're at as a franchise and how much they sacrifice. And it's not about what me and Adam have to say about how this team doesn't have enough pieces to do anything in the NFL to make noise yet. But Dan doesn't hear about that. He wants to win every ball game he's in. And obviously last night you got the Ravens game, who was a field goal loss as well. And like Adam said, you finally get the 2-point conversion, and you still lose the game. And he understands how much it hurt the players in that sense. You have so many injuries already. You have a chance to get a win on the road against a 1-3 team who is playing way better than the record says. And I think it just showed how much it meant to him. Again, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's well aware that all the blame falls essentially on the coach's shoulders. I mean, he understands that. Yes, he understands that. So, and thus far, he has amongst the worst team in the NFL is the Lions. They've shown a lot of positive things, and I think with Dan Campbell showing emotion, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think it's necessarily going to be an identity that this team plays with emotion and they play hard every single week. I just think it's so early in this regime and with Dan Campbell that they don't really have. You don't know if this identity is going to stick and it's going to evolve to next year. I don't think when they have all the right pieces and they win their first couple games of the season and they lose one, Dan will start crying or break down. I think it's just the prisoner of the moment. You lose a tough game on the road in that type of situation, 55-yarder you lose to. I think it was just a situational. I don't believe personally that in a year from now we're going to be knowing this team as, they just play hard. I mean, which I think they'll play hard. Like you said, every other NFL team plays hard. I just don't think the Lions, that's going to be their identity. They're going to be...
But I don't want that to be their identity.
I don't either. So I think a lot of people are on the same page. I don't think it will be. I think the situation they're in now, we can agree mutually, probably roster-wise, worse than the NFL.
Oh, 100%.
So you have to understand where they're at. That's fighting. If they had all the talent, you wouldn't say they're fighting. They should just be winning football games and fighting no matter what. You know what
fighting is a word used. Fighting, grit, emotion. That's what happens when you're losers.
Right.
And that's what the Lions are right now. They're losers. They don't have a great roster. The roster's full of inept, untalented players, and that's just the reality. That's not a shot at anybody. That's not a shot at the coaches. That's just the reality. They don't have a good football team. So that's what you have to deal with. And let me read some of the comments in the chat so we can address some of these. Let me see. If you think players don't see a grown man crying in front of the world as someone who cares, you're tripping. Free agents see the passion, and I bet you any money they'll be here next year. Listen, man.
I don't agree.
Let me tell you how free agency works. If you're an individual player, you're trying to get the most money on the most money and the most guaranteed money possible in a contract.
100%.
Now, you're willing to take less to go to, let's say, a team that's actually competing. But for a free agent, this upcoming class, to go to Detroit, coming off of 13-14 loss season, I mean, you're kind of reaching there. But again, I remember the Dick Vermeil crying scenario back, 2005, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And look, there's a difference between being an emotional guy and like frustrated that you lost. But dude, this is week five of your first official head coaching gig in the NFL, and you're already crying.
I think that says to it. I mean, your first gig.
This is what I mean by be careful with how emotionally invested you are. Because I can work hard, I can be emotionally invested, I could give everything I have into something, and there's still a possibility, guys, that it doesn't work out and that I don't succeed, and that's life. And Dan Campbell, I'm going to make it clear from now, and to all you Lions fans, be very careful not to get too emotionally invested in this mindset.
I agree with you.
Because I'm telling you, I can give you a million cases around the world. People, just individuals. Let's just use individuals. People that put in the work, they put in the time, the effort, always on time to work, but they don't get the promotion. The guys that do everything right. They walk the old person across the street. They never say anything mean to anybody. Somebody double crosses them. A person in a relationship gives all the effort out to beautiful restaurants, takes you out for dinner, takes you out down to the pond, you go have a nice picnic, you go to the lake, I don't know, whatever you do in a relationship. The point is, you can do everything right and be completely emotionally invested, and it still doesn't work out. Be very careful, Dan Campbell. Be very careful, Detroit Lions fans. It's very easy to get this invested and smacked across the face because, again, it was too low with Matt Patricia, right? Everybody was depressed. And now it's like way up here with Dan Campbell. Like, I like to think there's something in the middle that long-term works out better. We'll see what Dan Campbell turns out to be, but we got to head to break.
You guys. Adam and his relationship advice, he gives it to me all the time, and now we get it on the show too when it comes to the Lions. It's just, I never stop learning around here. And I have someone that you guys need to learn about. My friends at Legacy Partners Insurance. When you watch games, you guys know you're bombarded with insurance ads that promise to save you money. But if you want to save money, you need my friends at Legacy Partners Insurance. They're independent, so they shop between 7 and 10 carriers for your insurance needs. So here's what I need you to do. Call 586-209-4106 and tell them that Kennedy sent you, not Mez. Just for getting a quote and telling them that I sent you. You'll be put in a drawing for a $50 gift card. So go to legacypartnersins.com/Woodward today.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Woodward Sports, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. You guys, we're going to go around the NFL and talk about all the games that you might have missed. There were so many good ones. But we're going to start with the Packers taking on the Bengals. Green Bay wins 25-22. Very, very close game. Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, obviously, Michigan State, they looked amazing. And we talk about Mel Tucker, how hard. Wait, we're talking about Michigan State, right?
No, Green Bay.
Oh, we're not talking about. Okay, well, you know what? Let's go to Green Bay. Screw it. A lot of things happen in Green Bay versus Cincinnati. A lot of missed kicks. All right, that's the one thing I want to get out the way. Holy missed kicks. We talk about, Austin Seibert from the Lions and how many kicks he made. My God. Crosby missed a couple easy kicks for the Green Bay Packers. They ended up still getting the win. Devontae Adams had an absolute monster of a game, over 200 yards. If you have him in fantasy.
I tried trading for him over the weekend.
Hey, listen,
the guy wouldn't do it.
Hey, I have him in our Woodward Sports League. All right, I demolished Mikey. But anyway, the story still stands. Joe Burrow, him and Jamar Chase, that connection is something special. It's something very special.
You brought up you beat Mikey, right?
Oh, my God, here we go.
Art, I know you're in the back listening because you are responsible for our audio. So Artemis Smith, my friend, my dear friend, I'm sorry. But you did lose to me on Sunday. You did lose by .04. Poor guy. Poor guy. Like, all he needed was Devin Singletary to maybe get one more point. Not even. And
I know.
Won.
I know.
Poor guy. Poor guy. All those red zone opportunities. Art, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm 5-0 now. I'm happy. Sorry.
Keep bragging.
We can. I can't help it. I can't help it.
Hey, 4-1, 5-0. All right. When we match
we're
up,
both top of our division.
It's going to be a battle.
I mean,
all right?
It seems like the show knows what it's doing. But, whatever. We got to move on. Packers, Bengals.
Yep.
Jeff already alluded to it. I mean, the kickers were. Oh my goodness, it was awful. I had the Packers in a parlay, and I jinxed myself. Because Burrow threw the interception, I was texting my buddy. I'm like, all right, easy money, game over. I walk away. I come back. Cincinnati's attempting a game-winning field. I'm like, whoa, what happened? And then they miss it. So I'm going through a complete cluster of emotions. And then Green Bay goes down, wins the game, and then I'm a happy guy. I won some money. But I gotta say, Aaron Rodgers looks like a bad dude right now. After he threw that first interception, what was it? I believe it was 22 of 26, well over 250 yards.
Yeah.
And what, 2 touchdowns?
He was cooking. Devontae specifically.
He was cooking completely.
Yep. Randall
Cobb has really showed up late in, third down, third and long situations. They actually set up the game-winning field goal for the Packers on that, 3rd and 17, I believe. So Packers look good. They're going to be contenders in the NFC North. I'm impressed. What can I say? I'm impressed with what Zach Taylor's doing in Cincinnati. And, Matt LaFleur, what more can I say? I sit up here and defend him a lot.
One thing that bothers me about this Packers team is, I'll say it, they don't really have, they have a multitude of other wide receivers they can get going, but what happened to Tonyan? The guy who led all tight ends in touchdowns last year.
I have him on my fantasy team.
He led all tight ends in touchdowns last year, and he struggled to get going. I think he's had 8 yards in 3 games, only 8 yards, and he has no touchdowns. So they got to get Robert Tonyan going. They got to get my man Tonyan going. But yeah, it was a good game nonetheless.
All right.
I don't know what's going on in the chat, but somebody's talking about me and women. Can you explain to me what's going on?
I haven't been paying attention.
All right.
Sorry.
I'll move on to the next game. You do your research. I'm confused because
okay.
I'm a happily married man. So let's throw that out of the equation. I don't know what the hell's going on. Moving on. Browns Chargers. I called this game. I called this game. It was the game of the weekend. There were so many games of the weekends, honestly.
Yes,
there were so many good games. You had the Bama Texas A&M game. You had Texas Oklahoma. You had Michigan Nebraska. You had in the NFL you had Cleveland Los Angeles. There were way too many great games. I loved every bit of it. Justin Herbert, my goodness.
My goodness.
Dude's elite.
Yeah.
Well, we said it 2 weeks ago, Jeff?
Yeah.
Now we're just we're adding on here.
We talked about him being, in the back end of the MVP conversation, but if they continue to win games, he's in there.
He's there now. He wins 13, 14 games. He's in the MVP conversation, and I guarantee you Brandon Staley wins Head Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite going into the year for Head Coach of the Year.
It was.
So I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Chargers look good. My takeaways are Baker Mayfield can't win you games. And this isn't a day for me to knock on Baker, but it's a reminder. Mm-hmm. Of what Justin Herbert was doing in adversity versus what Baker was doing in a scripted offense that was running all over Los Angeles and was able to put big plays together. Switch the scenarios. If the Chargers jumped out, let's say, to a 28-16 lead, 28-14
It would have been gotten ugly.
It would have been a blowout.
Yep.
Baker wouldn't have led the comeback. I mean, this is just the reality. And again, I don't want to pile on Baker. He had an okay game. It was good. But there's a big difference between a Baker Mayfield and a Justin Herbert. And you saw it yesterday. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Good for Justin Herbert. Your thoughts on the game, Justin?
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff.
listen, Justin Herbert, let's just address this man right now. 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground, 400 yards passing about. The thing with Baker Mayfield is he played well. 23 for 32, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. Better than what you would usually say about Baker Mayfield. Didn't throw an interception, but exactly what Adam just said. Once the Browns had to go out, had to score. Because you saw what the Chargers did. When the Chargers needed to score, Justin Herbert got it done. So that's the difference. I mean, you saw Mike Williams absolutely snapped yesterday, but I mean, Justin Herbert didn't have a 100-yard rusher. He had 66 yards out of Austin Eckler. Yes, Eckler was doing damage in the pass game, but Baker Mayfield has a two-headed monster, probably the best duo in the NFL. Nick Chubb had 161 yards on the ground. Kareem added 61 with 2 touchdowns. Like he's got into probably arguably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Justin Herbert, less to work with. Doing more with it. I love Justin Herbert. Impressive.
I love it. Moving on, Chiefs, Bills. It was the primetime night, Sunday night football that got delayed at halftime. So
Too long of a delay.
I'm sure like 70% of America didn't stay up unless you were a Chiefs or a Bills fan to watch that game complete. But the Bills dominated.
We picked the Bills.
I showed you guys. I showed you guys the slips. It's a good weekend because of the Buffalo Bills. Hit some parlays, hit some individual bets, but. I think I hit every best bet of the weekend, except the Giants to cover against Dallas.
And the Jets.
I didn't call the Jets. I
you
called it
just did on my phone.
I called it at O'Toole's.
You little
I know.
turd.
I know. I apologize. It felt right. London game coming off a win, but they didn't look great at all. Arthur Smith, big win for them. But let's move on. Chiefs Bills. Patrick Mahomes is regressing at an extremely rapid rate. You guys slaughtered me for having the Chiefs out of my top 10 last week. Should I put them at number 1 now, just to make you feel better, Chiefs fans?
Who slaughtered you?
Yeah, I wasn't slaughtering you.
Not you. When I say you,
the people in the chat.
We're focused right now.
Yeah.
We're directly on this camera I'm looking at right now. I'm focused. I'm addressing people on this camera.
You're not, because
I know.
Big Al did not have it.
Regardless, the Chiefs look like they're regressing. I'm not sure what they're missing. The offensive line, the right side of it, their center, right guard, right tackle are new. Niang, I believe, sat out last year due to COVID, so they're still getting their feet under themselves. I don't think this is a horrible football team. I actually think they're very good. I just don't think they go to the Super Bowl this year. They've been to the last 2. I don't think they make it 3. The team that beat them is the team I have winning the Super Bowl, and I gotta say, damn, that felt good. Forget the money side. Forget the betting forget everything that I bet on. Like, the Bills look damn good. They didn't just beat the Chiefs. They dominated the Chiefs at home in Kansas City. What a win. What a win. I'm all on the Josh Allen train. Super dynamic. Stephon Diggs made some big plays throughout the game. They just couldn't stop the run. They couldn't. Josh Allen ate them alive, and it was a team effort. Special teams defense for Buffalo showed up. I told you Buffalo's defense was better than we imagined.
They're legit.
2 shutouts already on the year, and they forced Mahomes to throw 2 picks. I'm all for it. They shut down Tyreek Hill. Your thoughts on the game?
Listen, the Kansas City Chiefs, we can praise what they've done the last couple of years, but I like to compare it to like the Golden State Warriors when they were on their run, having all this success. Towards the back end of that run, one thing was noticeable is the rest of the league started to catch up to them a little bit. And I think that's what's essentially happening with this Kansas City team, because on paper, they're still top tier Super Bowl champions. But the reality is, have their co-assessors catched up, like Buffalo Bills. They've lost in the playoffs to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're hungry. The Kansas City Chiefs were just in the Super Bowl. They revamped their offensive line. You're hoping I picked them to go back. This is hurt to see them lose. They're 2-3 now. But I think it's as simple as everybody's starting to catch up a little bit to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is almost having a sophomore slump in his 4th, 5th year. So it's different for Patrick Mahomes. So
it's hard to stay at the top, man.
You're right, and especially football, most physical sport.
It's tough to stay at that mountaintop when you're playing Kansas City, every team is like, wow, that's the Kansas City Chiefs. We got to come with our A game. Not that they don't do that every week, but you understand what it's like to have that target on your back when you're that team.
100%.
And they've been to back-to-back Super Bowls now, and teams are coming for them in their own division. You look at the Broncos, you look at the Chargers, you look at even the Raiders. That's a 4-1, 3-2, 3-2, and then who's last in the division? The Chiefs at 2-3. Now, do I think they'll finish last? No. But the point is, they're regressing. Mahomes it looks like he's being asked to do more than he should be. Travis Kelce really isn't making the same impact you'd like. Tyreek Hill, again, he's kind of that player that will explode one week. The next week is like pedestrian. Then it'll explode again. It's inconsistent. He needs another wide receiver. Josh Gordon looked okay. Hopefully he turns out to something, but they need help. The Chiefs aren't looking great. Kennedy, we got to hit the break. But before we go, I need you to talk to me about your thoughts on Notre Dame. I'm gonna give you a minute to just accept it. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Notre Dame did win, everyone. Thank you. Virginia Tech. Can I say suck it on the?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, suck it, Virginia Tech. Notre Dame won. Kyle Hamilton coming straight for the Lions, baby. Come on home. All right, I'll stop now. Coming up, though, while I'm talking about, actually, I'm going to watch what I say. Tuck's coming up next. Spartans are now 6-0. We will get into that next. But first, we need to hear about our friends at Lady Jane's.
Yeah, listen, I know a lot of you guys watching this right now need a haircut, and I know a place to go. It's Lady Jane's over here at Birmingham, or a location near you. They're open 7 days a week, 10 to 8. You walk in, sign in, sit down in one of these lovely chairs, get to watch your favorite sports team on the televisions, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Again, 7 days a week, open 10 to 8. Come to Lady Jane's because it's wicked awesome.
Papa Romano's has a pizza that is pleased to meet you. The Pizza Pizza is a sizzling deal and fully loaded with pepperoni, ham, Italian sausage, ground beef, and bacon. Get a large Pizza Pizza for $16.99 at paparomanos.com.
Morning, Art. Morning, D-Mac.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. You guys, Michigan State had a pretty sloppy first half on both sides of the ball, but they shut out Rutgers in the second half to improve to 6-0. What a game. And then Kenneth Walker, 94-yard touchdown run. You guys, what is your season outlook for State after that exciting game?
Stay looking good. Tuck's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Tuck he's coming. They look damn good. I got to say, let me start with Peyton Thorne. He's a guy I've been pretty high on since the beginning of the season. I think he's a quarterback that can make the throws. Not all of them. He's not naturally gifted with arm talent, but he makes the correct reads. He makes the right throws. Good IQ, good footwork, good pocket awareness. I really like Peyton Thorne and Michigan State. I think they've got something brewing there. Naylor and Reed are just two of the most ridiculous wide receivers in college football right now. It's spectacular to watch. I absolutely love it. It's must-watch TV on Saturdays when the Sparties are playing. And then, of course, who can forget the Heisman hopeful himself, Kenneth Walker III. Another dominating performance on the road against a conference team that doesn't include the Miami performance. Of course, he is playing exceptionally well. I got to give Michigan State nothing but props and credit. I love their team. I love the dynamic. Their defense kind of has a bend, don't break mentality. You see them at times look flustered, but then at times they just look really good. They get to the quarterback whenever they want. I like what I'm seeing from Michigan State. Excited for the remainder of the year for them. One more game up until the home game versus Michigan.
Yep.
I think we all expect them both to enter in 7-0, but my takeaways are Mel Tucker did a great job in the transfer portal. They've got three of the most dynamic players in college football, and their quarterback is probably the second best quarterback in the Big Ten. And I could probably right now make the argument that he's playing the best of all the quarterbacks in the Big Ten. So happy for Michigan State. Good for them.
Yeah, and it's just proof. I mean, he has the most touchdown passes of 60-plus yards in a season since Dwayne Haskins. So the guy's playing tremendously well. And may I note, this team is the 5th team in college football history with a 300-yard passer, 200-yard rusher, and a 200-yard receiver in a single game. They've been remarkable offensively in what they've been able to do with the unproven guys they have, like Adam alluded to, the transfer portal, the work they've been able to do acquiring guys like Kenneth Walker, Jalen Naylor, 3 touchdowns, got all 3 for Peyton Thorne. It's remarkable offensively. Defensively, they absolutely shut the Rutgers team down. Obviously, they didn't hold Noah Vegel. They didn't get him a passing touchdown. They played absolutely tremendous. I want to talk about Kenneth Walker. He had that 94-yard touchdown run, which is the longest in school history. He's adding to his Heisman case at this point, but it's going to be hard, obviously. You got a guy like Peyton Thorne playing as well as he's been playing. It's going to be hard to win a Heisman Trophy over in East Lansing. But
I don't think so. I think if this is a one-loss conference champion, Michigan State Spartans, I think he needs to be a serious favorite for the Heisman.
Favorite?
Yeah.
I got you. I think he'll be really close.
The guy is unplayable right now. And you know what? The definition of a Heisman player, right? A guy that, no matter the situation, even when he's down, he's up. Kenneth Walker, I mean, he was quiet. He made some good plays, but nothing explosive against Rutgers in the immediate. And then, of course, backed up at their own 6-yard line, he takes it to the house, 94 yards. That is the definition in my book of a Heisman candidate. A guy that can play through adversity, but on the road, his performance, if anything, is better than it is when he's at home. And he's being rested against Youngstown State away, basically from having, 1,200 yards? I mean,
yeah. And it's the Devontae Smith argument. He wins the Heisman. Mac Jones playing extremely well, so I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, look, I got to say, Michigan fans, you are in no position right now to be talking down to Michigan State. You
don't let Braylon and Ryan hear this.
You're not in a position. They have won a Big Ten more recently than you have. I'd be very careful calling them little brother, especially considering these are 2 top 10 teams in college football right now. I believe Michigan State is ranked 10th. Michigan, 6, 7? I believe 7, maybe. I don't know. I know Penn State's ahead of them. Penn State may have dropped to 6. But regardless, a lot of Big Ten football still left to play. Michigan State are a legitimate football team. They are a legitimate football team. Now, are they 11, 12 wins? That's difficult. Are they 9, 10 wins? I think so. I like Peyton Thorne a lot, maybe more than most. Kenneth Walker, I don't have to speak for him. They have one of the most dynamic wide receivers in Jaden Reed. And, of course, who can forget? Naylor coming off a spectacular performance against Rutgers. And should I add in it as well that the defense is actually playing pretty solid. They're playing pretty good. So no complaints from me on Michigan State. For everyone saying that Michigan State will get stomped by Michigan,
what are they watching?
Who's a better football team, Wisconsin or Michigan State? Jeff, answer.
Michigan State.
Who's better, Michigan State or Nebraska?
Michigan State.
Who's better, Michigan State or Northwestern?
Michigan State.
So Michigan State are just going to show up at home and get blown out by Michigan? No, I don't see that happening at all. So dream big, Michigan fans. I am thankfully not a Michigan or a Michigan State fan, so I can sit up here objectively and actually have this conversation without being biased. But to Justin's point, you asked for this, Michigan fans. Multiple Big Ten championships. And you have that. So I'd be very careful. That's like the Lions calling the Bears little brothers. I brought this up the other day. When you lose, 5, 6 straight to the Bears, you can't call them little brothers. When they've been to a Super Bowl in the decade, they've just been to a Super Bowl, something you haven't. Like, be very careful how you attack another fan base. I get it. It's college sports. Fan bases love to poke fun at each other. But I don't think today is the day for Michigan fans to really...
Show some respect.
Put some...
Put some respect.
Put some respect because a guy that was supposed to be 2 years into a rebuild is
beat you last year, looking to beat you this year. That's what
fielding
it looks like.
the number 10 team in college football right now with 3 of the most dynamic playmakers and a quarterback that I think can get it done in college football. I like him a lot. So lots of good things to say this morning on Michigan State. Regarding Michigan, again, their matchup, October 30th, right?
Yep.
Devil's Night.
Devil's Night, baby.
October 30th, East Lansing. It's going to be a hell of a game. I am hoping and praying, and I will be putting down significant money that hopefully State and Michigan do win this weekend. That way we can all gather around the campfire and watch two undefeateds clash on Devil's Night. It'll be absolutely must-watch TV. The Iowa-Penn State game, I mean, you just want to talk about the Big Ten for a moment. That was an amazing game. The implications, it really added respect to the conference in general. Fish, what am I missing, buddy?
Well, you better watch what you hope for, because I think Fox may have the Big Ten rights, which means they may pick the Michigan-Michigan State game to be noon.
I can't
and
wait.
You're not going to be doing a campfire at midday. I mean, you could, but you probably shouldn't.
I can't wait, Fish. I can't wait. I can barely hear him though, but I can't wait. Let's continue with the Big Ten. Ohio State, another dominating performance. C.J. Stroud throwing about everywhere. Olave is, I think, I'd say the second best receiver right now in college football. So, Big Ten's full of great teams right now. Great teams, not good, great. Iowa did an Iowa this weekend, which is amazing. Usually Iowa loses that kind of game. They actually came back and won it. Now, James Franklin, Penn State, will they rebound? Will they have a good rest of the season? We'll have to wait and see. But there's so many tricky matchups now going in later into the season, right? Penn State play Michigan, and I believe it's in Ann Arbor. Am I correct? Somebody confirm with me?
Michigan versus...
Michigan is home to Penn State later on in the season. And if...
Let me look.
Everything goes to plan for Michigan, they should be undefeated by then.
It is in Penn State.
It is? Okay,
Yep.
So wow. That's
November 13th.
Okay, so now let's play scenarios, right? If you're Michigan, you lose to Michigan State at home. Excuse me, away in East Lansing. And you win your games, and then you head into Penn State away, and you win there. Well, you kind of redeem yourself. I am so excited. Big Ten looks great this year. My goodness. There's so much to talk about. I'm so excited. But again, I will reiterate to Michigan fans, today is not the day to poke fun at Michigan State or even call them little brother. They can embarrass you with their accomplishments over the last 20 years, something you are inept and irrelevant on. So I'd be very careful, and I'm a big Jim Harbaugh supporter, so be very careful with that. Regarding Iowa, they did an Iowa this weekend. That was good for the Big Ten. Kennedy, Notre Dame, and Ohio State won, so I'm sure you're happy.
I know, isn't it great?
It's a great weekend for everybody. The Lions lost. That was great. Their draft position holds true. It was a great weekend overall. The Oklahoma-Texas game was probably the craziest thing I've ever seen, Jeff. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but I mean, that game, that looked like a Madden game between two 7-year-olds.
I tuned in, mind you, to that ridiculous pass to Mims by Caleb Williams. The sideline when his toe was inbounds, he had one toe in, he caught the touchdown. That's when I started tuning in, so it was already on the comeback. And Spencer Rattler,
he's gone.
He's going to be in the transfer portal. He's going to be in that transfer portal because freshman Rattler Caleb Williams looks good. Freshman.
Spencer Rattler.
They hate him.
I told you guys. I told you he's not a prospect going into the year. He's a joke. He's not an NFL quarterback. He may be a college quarterback, but he's not an NFL quarterback. And lo and behold, he got benched again. Oh, my goodness. I think they start him next week, though. I think they give him a chance. I really don't believe Lincoln Riley is going to sit him next week. He's got to play him, get his confidence back, because you know what? Jokes aside, Spencer Rattler playing at his best is really good for Oklahoma now. Is the backup much better? We don't know. Too early to say, but he looked very good when he came in. That's a Lincoln Riley call. He sees him in practice every day. We got to head to break. When we get back, I got my favorite topic of the day, Jared Goff. Jared Goff. We're going to have, me and Goff are going to have a one-on-one today.
I can't wait.
I'm excited.
But before we do that, before we get into, I'm sure, all the nice things that we have to say when we come back, we need to hear about someone we actually genuinely can say nice things about, and that's our friends at Underdog Fantasy.
Let's talk about Underdog Fantasy. The NFL season is underway, but you can still draft a new fantasy team each and every week on Underdog Fantasy to win cash prizes. Using their slick mobile app, you can join a league and draft a team within minutes. Plus, the folks at Underdog Fantasy are going to gift you a free $10 when you sign up and deposit using code WSN. Be sure to download the Underdog Fantasy app in either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and we'll see you right after the break.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. As promised, we're going to talk about Jared Goff. You guys, I've seen your comments in the chat. They're honestly cracking me up. They're saying Goff stands for get out of Ford Field. I like that one. I've also liked the one people are calling him Jared Goof, which I agree with. He looks like an absolute goofball, and that is the nicest way I could possibly put it out there.
Well, I labeled
Turnover machine.
We labeled this segment
Jared.
in our prep. Jared needs Goff or go off, right? How do you even
Go
pronounce
off
it?
is like go off, clean,
yeah,
like
I know.
pop off. So
I don't know. It's basically capital G.
Or it should have been Jared needs to go.
He just needs to go.
Yeah, how about
basically
that?
what we're getting at.
Go
Jared Goff needs
F
to go.
himself.
No, listen. Let me tune in right here because Jared Goff has turned the ball over 9 times in 5 games. Turnover machine. I just read this statistic earlier with his comparisons to Jameis Winston. He's only second to Jameis Winston since 2016 among the active players with turnovers. That's fumbles, that's interceptions. It's hard to win consistently. You have years to figure everything out, but as of right now, the margin of error is that small. Can you see that? No, you can't. That's the margin of error the Detroit Lions have this year. I mean, it's going to increase as the years go on, as they add players, but it's hard to win enough. You saw Sean McVay with that absolute stacked team. He had Todd Gurley going for him. They make it to the Super Bowl. Other than those circumstances, it's hard to win with Jared Goff. And we could say, yes, this is Brad Holmes' quote-unquote guy. He helped scout him when they had the number 1 pick. They took Jared Goff. But let's be honest, it's Les Snead's guy. All right, this is who Les Snead took into the NFL draft. So I believe Brad Holmes, they take on Jared Goff's contract for 2 years. They get a guy, a rental, a bridge quarterback, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's their plan still. I think that's what Jared Goff is. I don't know who's going to take him next. I don't care. If it's Denver, if it's Washington, does not matter.
Easy's got to defend his boy, Jared Goff.
Is this Easy's boy?
Yeah, it's Easy's boy.
I got to talk to him.
You got to talk to him
I
after
got to
the
talk
show.
to him, man.
Defend his boy.
Got to talk to him.
Throwing numbers at me in the chat a few weeks ago because Jared Goff was thrown for 400, 500, 600 yards in, 2 games?
He's a quarterback who's great in play action sets. That's it.
Who cares?
But that's my point. I mean, what do you want? I mean, you saw what Justin Herbert was able to do. There's certain quarterbacks who just have it. It's not Jared Goff. We can mutually agree.
Jared Goff needs to go. All right, let me start again.
Call him an Uber.
Let me say that again. Jared Goff needs to go. And if, again, you guys, you know me, I'm a gentleman. If I need to drive him the same way I drove Jelani Tavai to the airport, I will do it myself. Now, Jared Goff's play has been atrocious. It's been awful. He's fumbled 4 times now in the last 2 games. He's a turnover machine. And when, again, you're in a conversation of Kirk Cousins and Jameis Winston, you have a problem. You have a problem, and you shouldn't be the franchise quarterback for any team. And like I said, prior to the season, before a ton of Lions fanatics, whatever you want to call them, told me that Jared Goff won a Super Bowl, Adam. He's better than Matthew Stafford ever was. Stick, you got to defend yourself on this one, too. I'm calling everybody out today. Big boy, Stick, Easy. Maz, come at me with the Jared Goff won a Super Bowl argument, please. Please do. Please do. He's awful. They traded him and 2 first-round picks for a reason. My goodness. What are we doing this morning? Jared Goff is not it. Like I told you before the season started, he is a bridge quarterback at best. The day his contract expires, I will personally drive him to
Such a nice
Detroit
guy.
Airport myself. I won't make him charge. I won't charge him anything. I won't
gas
ask
money.
for even a tip. I just want him to get the hell out of town. Because he ain't good, and he isn't the future here, and it's that simple. So now, what's the Lions' plan? I think this year you go heavy on defense. Heavy investment on the defensive side of the ball, and you try to sneak in a few skill position players.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, then you go for the top quarterback with the top pick, maybe, if your season completely falls apart. But if it doesn't, I like, we talked about this earlier in the week, I like JT Daniels or Slavis in the 4th round if they're available. I don't see a problem with taking a chance on somebody late there at quarterback. But I got to say, Jared Goff. How many more times, Kennedy? He's awful. He's awful. He's not any good.
Are we ready for David Blow?
His first 3 years, he was very good. And since then, he has done nothing but regress.
Hasn't won a game without
regress.
Sean McVay. I mean, it's...
What, 0-12?
0-13 or
What are you gonna do?
Well, it doesn't matter. I don't even think of it.
That's big,
I don't even think of it that way. Honestly, no, because like I already knew that about Sean McVay and Jared Goff. Like that relationship was Sean McVay 90%, 10% Jared Goff.
And he ruined it because he wanted
Look at
to
Kyle
bang
Shanahan
his
and Jimmy
wife
Garoppolo.
or something.
Look at Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy G. Kyle Shanahan, without his quarterback, can't win football games. No head coach realistically can overcome and win like significant games without their quarterback. So, look, you gotta. I'm really not sure where I want to go with this morning. I just want him out of town. He's not any good. Denzel, can we sign Cam Newton?
I was just going to ask you, would you rather have Cam Newton?
If you want to sign Cam Newton, that means you want to go 0-17. I'm not causing this. You
Who would win more games with this team right now, Cam Newton or Jared Goff?
No, Jared Goff.
Okay,
Jared
all
Goff
right. I was just
Cam
checking.
Newton, you're guaranteeing 0-17 this year if you sign Cam Newton. So
All right.
if that's the road they want to go over, I don't mind. I gotta add on to Justin's point.
Yeah.
Regarding Dan Campbell's press conference, I know it's
No
a
one's
little. I gotta say, no. This is something people really. This is why I said you have to be careful how emotionally invested you get. You can be the greatest person. You can do all the right things. You can put in the hours. You can always be there on time. Stay late. Work the midnight shift. Work the weekends. You can do all of that. That doesn't mean you will be successful. It just means you have a better opportunity to be successful.
It helps you, definitely.
It definitely helps you.
Yeah.
So when you get emotionally invested into this team, like this man has, and you're crying 5 games in, I mean, you guys shouldn't be praising him for that.
No, I don't
not
agree.
you. I'm not addressing you, Joe.
But Lions fans in
Twitter,
general.
Lions Twitter in general, even our chat. I mean, this isn't.
Don't get caught up in it. I mean,
This isn't what you should be talking about post game. The post game should be, man, we're an awful football team. Anthony Lynn, Jared Goff, what are you doing? Get your act together. You guys are awful. The defense has actually been playing well with a decimated secondary, with their best pass rusher out, and you somehow can't keep us in, let alone win us football games. That should be what we're talking about. What we should be talking about is, oh, wow, the quarterback class in college isn't looking all that great. Who are the defensive prospects the Lions are looking at? What pick are they going to get? Are they going to get the first overall pick? Are they going to trade back? Who knows? Anything but the head coach of a professional football team crying at the end of a game because he felt like they gave it their all, they were so close, and they lost. You kidding me? Like, you guys can attach and cling on to what you want. But Jared Goff needs to go. Anthony Lynn really needs to get his act together. And Dan Campbell needs to not cry 5 games in to the season. Again, that's who he is. I told you earlier, that is who he is. I'm not going to change him. I won't ask him to change. And I won't criticize him on the field-wise regarding how he is. But I will ask questions. Questions that I think none of you can answer. And it really puts me in an awkward, uncomfortable position regarding Dan Campbell and this football team because, again, they play hard, Adam. They play hard. These are the same people that tell me you play to win the game. These are the same people that tell me they would win 8, 9, 10 games. So you guys need to pick something and kind of hold on to it. You may not like what I say, but I kind of mean it, and I say it, and I stick to it. So how about you try doing the same? Dan Campbell crying in a press conference shouldn't make you any more excited or any less sadder this morning. It really shouldn't. So back to Jared Goff. Jeff, what more do you want me to say? I want him out of town. Goodbye.
Yeah.
If you want to go 0-17, bring in a Cam Newton, or just play, I don't know, Panay Sewell at quarterback if you really want to guarantee it. But
yeah,
move on. Jared Goff isn't the guy. I told you he was a bridge quarterback. You guys insulted me, told me that no, he's the franchise. He won playoff games, something Stafford could never do. He won division games. Like you guys really are over your heads sometimes. It's kind of hilarious. And I'm sitting here 5 games in, And I don't think I've been wrong yet about a damn thing I've said about this football team. And it seems like everyone else is completely wrong. So I'll sit here and wait to be wrong.
We can agree on this.
Nice to be Adam.
Jared Goff is the sacrificial lamb right now for the Detroit Lions because we need to build this team around.
You're giving him too much praise.
No, hold on. Wait, really? Sacrificial lamb?
Yeah, I wouldn't even call him a lamb. I think he's
like, I wouldn't even slaughter him.
I was like, wait,
I wouldn't even slaughter him.
Listen, well, he's out there.
I would make him live out his meaningless, miserable life.
Okay. Oh my, I love
Demonic.
this though.
I wouldn't give him that honor of being slaughtered.
Listen, you put together a team around Jared for the next quarterback, all right? Because that's what the plan is. Like Adam said, go defense, go to good defense. That's what you need with a young quarterback. Get at least a number one wide receiver. If you could find that some way, but he's a sacrificial lamb. In 2 years, let his contract expire, and I want to see. This is what I'm waiting for. I cannot wait to see what his options are and where Jared Goff goes, because there's only a handful of teams that are looking to pay anywhere close to what he is making now for a quarterback who's behind Jameis Winston. And you saw what Jameis Winston signed for with the New Orleans Saints. You get discounted for turning the ball over that much. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see what Jared Goff does.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you say to Jack Johnson in the chat who says, what did Stafford do his first year with the Lions? Yeah, what was the Lions record with Stafford's first year? Rookie Stafford 2009. We went 2-14. Would you compare
with
these
a rookie
two
quarterback
yes.
coming up in 0-16, Jack?
There you go.
0-16. I really want to be polite with you here, so I'm just going to act like I never heard that. A rookie quarterback taking over an 0-16 team.
Mm-hmm.
You know he's drafted number 1 overall for a reason, right? Oh, what did he do after, Jeff? Please, entertain me. And he didn't play that full season, just so you know. And in the seasons where Matthew Stafford played all 16 games, he averaged 7.8 wins per season. Huh. With the Detroit Lions franchise that knows nothing but losing.
Yep.
How ironic. Shut up. Shut up, Jack. No. You're completely missing on this one. Sorry. I'm not going to entertain it. We got to head to break. When we get back, we got 2 things to discuss. Yeah, I know. We gotta reevaluate the Lions 5 games in. I think it's fair to sit down and have that conversation. And we got something I'll share with you after the break that I'm excited about personally.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that, Kennedy.
I don't know what's going on anymore, but make sure you stick around for it. We'll see you after the break.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With historically low interest rates and 5-star service, you could pay your mortgage off faster without increasing your monthly payment. Get started now at 248-308-5000 or chat with us online. Call hallfirst.com.
Papa Romano's has a pizza that is pleased to meet you. The Pizza Pizza is a sizzling deal and fully loaded with pepperoni, ham, Italian sausage, ground beef, and bacon. Get a large Pizza Pizza for $16.99 at paparomanos.com.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Welcome back, everyone. You're tuning into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Happy Monday. We're glad you stuck around this long, but we've now seen the Lions for 5 weeks. So I need to get these guys' takes from what they've seen thus far. So, Jeff, let's start with you, and we'll do a little back and forth.
So my first takeaway, it's very obvious. I'm reeling you in. We're keeping you light at first. I think the obvious one is Dan Campbell has gotten the most out of his players, out of probably the most, well, number one, the youngest team in the NFL, but probably the worst roster in the NFL. We can mutually see through the Ravens game, through the Bears game. Offensively, they've been challenged, but overall, they haven't really had a bad blowout. So that's what we can say. I mean, the Packers, it was looking that way, but you know what? They've gotten the most out of their players. I think that you can take that from the first couple games the Lions have played so far.
All right, my first takeaway 5 weeks into the season is the obvious: the team plays hard for their head coach.
Okay, so we're similar.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the obvious one.
That's
you can
the
see.
obvious one.
Yeah.
I think the second takeaway for me, and really something we can actually discuss, is the Lions' offense is atrocious. And it's not about who's right, who's wrong in this capacity, but, we did discuss before the season which side of the ball we felt would, improve the most and really develop. And 5 games in, at least the first 2 you're like, oh, it's clearly the offense. But now you're sitting here like, defense, hello? You're playing way better. And why? You're completely decimated by injuries. It's a very confusing saga right now going on in Detroit.
Yeah.
You have such a dynamic back in DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson, Jamal Williams, a decent O-line right now with injuries. So I don't understand this offense. It really blows my mind, Jeff. What do you make of it so far? We're 5 games in, and I think they've gotten significantly worse week to week.
Yeah, you're not far off. I mean, we had this argument, who's going to be better, offense or defense? I picked offense because it was before Penei Sewell's regular season. Let's get that straight. It was before a lot of this team even started. So before the season, you think, all right, you got a top 10 offensive line, you have a top 4 out tight end, got a dynamic backfield. Jared Goff's Jared Goff. I didn't know he'd be this much of a problem. I mean, we knew he'd be a problem. And then the wide receiver was always an issue. So now that we get into the season, you can see not having a number 1 wide receiver, it's hurting this team. And the offensive line looks atrocious, bad, which is surprising. And Jared Goff's been even worse than we thought. So it's a lot of things going down the drain. And to your point, Adam, the defense was so bad that they're getting better. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but this isn't like, oh, they're just, that's
but they're playing
that's what
hard.
my thought was on it before the injuries. They were 32nd so awful last year that there's no chance they're that bad this year, right?
San Francisco, it looked like it.
I mean, it
38
did,
to
but
10.
My goodness. Jack, what quarterback is going to make this team better? Let's hear how getting rid of Goff will make the Lions better. Well, you eliminate 9 turnovers in 5 games. We'll start
there you go.
That was a great point made in the chat.
Click your heels.
Let me see where I want to go with this. Jared Goff should go in 2 years. You shouldn't reconsider him. And
that's
Jack,
my next takeaway.
You are the same people that said Jared Goff was a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford because he had playoff experience, because he won games, because he won the division. So I would be very careful. Justin, you missed part of the show where we haven't talked about Sewell yet. You know what? I think it's something we should talk about as a takeaway. Penei Sewell doesn't look good right now.
No.
When you take a left tackle, number 7 overall, you need to hit on him. You need to hit, just like you need to hit when you take a corner at number 3. And Brad Holmes, you need Penei Sewell to hit. 3 awful preseason games at right tackle. His first 2 games, I would say he was very good to pretty good. I mean, it was good to see. And then since he's been really overwhelmed, a lot of it you can put on schematics. They lost Ragnow. I mean, it's not a good look. It's not a good look right now for Brad Holmes and Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell, again, he's 20. He's raw. He needs time. But we're 7 games now. We've seen Yeah. Are they 0-5? They are. So 8 games. We've seen 8 games now. 3 preseason, awful. First 2 games of the season, pretty good. In the last 3 games, it's been pretty bad. And we're gonna have to. I don't know. We're gonna have to have this conversation eventually. He needs to show up in against Cincinnati and have a good game. He needs to. Now, I can make the argument he went up against 3 straight really good pass rushing teams, but hey, if you want to be one of the best left tackles in the NFL, you kind of got to play well. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. I'm not sure where to go with Penei Sewell right now. I'm really not. Like, it's too early to say he's anything, unless you move him to right tackle, where I think he'll bust, but that's a different conversation.
Can we agree on this? When you got guys like Myles Garrett, who's given praise to Rashawn Slater, that probably the best pass rusher right now in the league, and saying, "Wow, this guy's special." Like that's
I don't
where
want to talk about that because I sat up here months and months ago, and we did a mock draft, and I took with the Lions pick, I took Rashawn Slater, and I was murdered for it. And I just don't want to use hindsight right now. I'm not in the mood. Like, if you wanted a right tackle, Detroit, you should have drafted Rashawn Slater.
Well,
I'm actually like this is gonna upset me a lot, and I don't want to get into it. Like, if you wanted a right tackle, you draft a right tackle.
Yeah. And you know what?
If you want Lamar Jackson to play quarterback, you play him at quarterback. If you draft a wide receiver, you play him at wide receiver. What the heck is so hard about this? Move him to right tackle. Let's see how the season goes. I'm not looking forward to it.
and you're not crazy at him. If you had him in your mock draft, I was watching the NFL draft. I said, if you need a tackle, you take Rashawn Slater, someone who can move positions. That's the most important
guy that had that raw talent skill, which is fine, but that doesn't guarantee you develop it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have taken the guy out of the Big Ten that was proven, sat out the year, coming off rested, everybody was high on. You could have taken that guy. Whatever. This is very frustrating.
The jury's still, it's still out.
It's so early,
Yeah.
I know, but if
But it ain't
you
looking
want
good.
him at right tackle for the next 2 years, I want to kill you. Because you could have just taken Rashawn Slater, been set over there, and then had Taylor Decker on a team-friendly contract for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
What is so hard about that? Yes, you have a 20-year-old going up, well, now 21, going up against seasoned vets, seasoned edge rushers, but still, it's not a good look. It just isn't a good look. Let's move on. My next takeaway: Dan Campbell doesn't have an identity as a head coach. That's my takeaway. I don't know what this football team is, and even if they had a good roster, I don't know what it is. I don't know what Dan Campbell brings to the table outside of raw leadership, emotional, fighting grit. Outside of that, I don't know what he offers on the offense or defensive side of the ball. And right now, both sides of the ball really need help.
Yeah.
He's just going to, Anthony Lynn, you got this, bud. Let me know how I can help.
Yeah,
Aaron Glenn, hey, let me know how I can help, bud.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
You're not wrong there. It's too early to really say what the identity of this football team is. You could say they play hard, but we'll see when they get more talent. You want to just be winning football games. You don't want to be gritty, low scoring, relying on your run game to win games. It should be more than that. But my next takeaway is the Lions need to address this wide receiver situation sooner than later. Because no matter who's behind center, you have Jared Goff, you draft a rookie, no matter who, they're going to look bad with throwing a Khalif Raymond who didn't even catch a ball yesterday. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Quintez Cephas, like him, but they're going to have to find someone who if TJ Hawkinson's doubled in like he was Sunday, you need someone you can rely on. And Amon-Ra popped off, but you're going to need something more than that. So they got to address that wide receiver situation. That's what I've
I do
taken
agree.
away.
They do need to address the wide receiver position. But again, this upcoming draft, it's defense, maybe skill position.
Yep, I agree.
Defense, if you find a quarterback in the 4th round,
Snag
do it.
him. Yep.
And then defense. That's what you need. You're 10 to 11 players away on the total squad from being a serious team. So
yep.
Good luck. I know a lot of people already starting the Micah Parsons chat. I keep saying his name wrong. It drives me absolutely
I literally just
nuts.
commented that.
I hate it.
People were like, we should have gotten Parsons. I said no because I'd have to hear Adam say his name wrong too often.
Yeah. Anyway.
He goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, what's your next takeaway? You got one more?
Yeah, I got one more
okay.
takeaway. My final takeaway, and Detroit, please listen to this very carefully. The Detroit Lions are likely to lose 15 games this year. And you shouldn't try holding on to we played hard. Our coach, he plays hard he coaches hard. Our team's playing hard for him. Like, chill. You're going to lose a lot of games this year. Let's see how the offseason goes. And I'm pretty sure if he's anything that you expect him to be, this team should win 6, 7, 8 games next year. By default. Now, if Jared Goff is just that awful, then no, they take a step back again, which I think they do. But if you want to go by team development, player development, coaching ability, you have a whole new offseason, draft capital, 2 first-round picks. You have a lot of room to add to this roster and go from a 2-3 win team to a 6-7 win team. I don't think that's asking too much. And if Dan Campbell can't deliver that, well, then you got to start asking questions. And I'll know by Thanksgiving of next year if he's meant to be a head coach in this league or not. We got to go. Kennedy, thank you for a great Monday morning. We're going to miss you this week. I know you're out Wednesday. We'll talk about it Tuesday. I don't want to talk about it right now, but we will miss you very much. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a great show, great weekend, lots of great football.
Yes.
Lions, what a game. I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you, everybody, for being involved in the chat as usual. But Kennedy, send us home.
All right, you guys. Yes, thank you for your positivity, both of you, this morning. Not too much negativity on a Monday after a loss, so we like it. But
Negativity because their feelings get hurt.
I know.
They can't
it's
handle
okay.
the truth.
It's okay. We had UofM and an MSU win, so that's something to be excited about, you guys. I hope you have a great Monday. We will see you right back here, same time, same place tomorrow.
Happy Thanksgiving.